Welcome viewers to the Saturday, June 14th edition of 284 News. I am Jacques Wooding, bringing you our top stories from this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Leader of the opposition, Honorable Myron Walwyn, has called for an independent investigation into the circumstances surrounding the people's $5 million that was deposited into the BVI Bank of Asia Limited. In a national address on Tuesday, Walwyn called on the governor to have this matter investigated.
This was public information and was widely reported and featured prominently in Offshore Alert, a respected financial investigative publication specializing in financial intelligence, particularly relating to offshore finance, fraud, and high-risk entities, which I am absolutely certain that the Ministry of Financial Services would subscribe to. Given its position, the Minister of Finance knew or ought to have known about these developments. This was not a matter hidden behind closed doors. It was in plain sight for any responsible leader to be cognizant of it. It therefore begs the serious question: why would the government of the Virgin Islands choose to deposit public funds into the Bank of Asia at a time when its owners had filed for bankruptcy? And even more troubling, when the bank had reportedly failed to submit audited financial statements for several years. Today, the bank is in liquidation. This means that it is being shut down permanently and its assets will be sold off to repay creditors. Under our own laws, the Virgin Islands Deposit Insurance Corporation, launched in 2024 to provide protection for depositors against the loss of insured deposits within banks in the event of a failure, only protects up to $100,000 per eligible deposit. The rest is unprotected. This means that the government, on behalf of the people, deposited $5 million into this bank that they knew or ought to have known was failing and has now become an unsecured creditor, waiting in line behind insured depositors and secured creditors to receive their payout. In other words, we are probably very likely to lose most, if not all, of that $5 million. While our people continue to struggle with the high cost of living, with roads that are crumbling, water shortages that have become a way of life, and local businesses barely staying afloat, this government is losing $5 million, throwing money away, money that could have been used to ease the burden on our citizens.
Walwyn says this is not the first example of poor financial management by the government, and he referred to the issue when the Premier underestimated the cost of the civil service salary increases by $20 million, with no plan in place to raise revenue or reduce spending to make up for it. According to the opposition leader, the Premier in a statement is blaming the public officers in the Ministry of Finance for placing the $5 million in the Bank of Asia.
It is always someone else's fault, not this government's. And now, instead of taking responsibility, the Premier is calling for an internal audit. But let us be honest, he should not be the one calling for anything, and the outcome of any audit should be fully available to the public for viewing. The Premier fully well knows that internal audits are not available for public scrutiny. This is yet another attempt to run from the consequences of his actions and hide from public scrutiny. It is a fundamental principle of good governance that one cannot investigate or call an investigation into a matter in which they have personal or institutional involvement. This undermines the integrity of any investigation. What we need is an independent investigation into the circumstances surrounding the people's $5 million, one that the public can trust. Therefore, I am publicly calling on the governor to have this matter investigated. The people of this territory deserve no less. Honorable Premier, I urge you, come straight with the people. Be honest, be accountable, Stop pointing fingers and start leading. Citizens and residents of the Virgin Islands, I know that many of you are feeling frustrated and disappointed during these challenging times that we continue to face. We all are. I share those feelings and understand the weight they carry. But I encourage you to not lose hope as better days are ahead.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Honorable Sherry DeCastro has announced a new opportunity for HLSCC graduates to enter directly into the third year of a bachelor's degree program at Richmond American University in London. The move follows the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the HLSCC Stouts Community College and the university during DeCastro's recent visit to the United Kingdom for the Education World Forum, accompanied by HLSCC President Dr. Richard Georges. Minister DeCastro emphasized the benefits of studying in the UK over the US, citing rising tuition costs and visa challenges in the US. Both institutions are accredited by the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, ensuring credits transferability and academic compatibility. Meanwhile, following the cancellation of the 2025 Miss BVI pageant, the first runner-up from the 2024 edition of the pageant, Miss Donielle D. Hodge, has been named Miss BVI 2025. This decision was announced by Junior Minister for Culture and Tourism, Honorable Luce Hodge-Smith, who confirmed that a decision was made to coronate Ms. Hodge due to her full participation in last year's competition. A coronation event will be held in the coming weeks, with details to be shared with the public once finalized. The Miss BVI pageant, a key cultural institution in the Virgin Islands, will not be held in 2025, as previously announced by the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sustainable Development. The decision to cancel this year's event came after challenges surrounding logistics, participation levels, and planning timelines. However, Junior Minister Honorable Luce Hodge-Smith reaffirmed the government's commitment to the pageant's legacy. And viewers, with that, we take a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
My name is Henry Bosch. I work for PPG. I'm here to explain to you the use of the Deltron NXT paint line and Enviro-based high performance, one being solvent-borne and the next being waterborne. The difference is that one is totally manufactured with rosins and thinners and all the good stuff that solvents bring versus our new technology, which is waterborne, which is 100% latex. What we're gonna do is that we reduce the solvent-borne with a DT885, which is a mid-temp reducer, and the waterborne uses T494, which is a waterborne reducer. We will today be using either DCU 2042, which is a speed clear, or we will be using DCU 2021, which is a classic. We have here our equipment. We have 8-ounce measuring cups, and we also have our 32-ounce mixing cup. We will also have with us our Venturi. This is a blower for us to dry the waterborne paint, which speeds up the process. The good thing about waterborne paint is that as soon as it evaporates, you're good to go. So now Gilligan will dilute the waterborne paint with the waterborne reducer. We made 8 ounces, that would be 1.6 ounce. It always has to be properly mixed until we get an even mixture within the paint mixing cup. So when we spray, we don't see uneven coats of color. So right now we're filling our paint gun with 8 ounces of diluted paint. We're gonna see how far 8 ounces will take us. Waterborne paint seems to look blotchy on your first coat. Don't pay no mind to that. Don't try to achieve full coverage on your first spray. Excellent. Let it dry. So the process in waterborne is 2 even coats, and then we have what we call a dust coat. Well, now we're gonna have Mr. Brown apply the first coat of clear on his waterborne panel. We'll let it flash off, and then he'll come back and coat it with his second coat to finish it off. As you had seen in the previous shots, we had a little blotchiness, and you'll see some patches. That's all due on purpose to sandpaper to prove that with enviro-based high performance, all technicians, the body work has to end at 800 grit or plus. Well, enviro-based is like we're trying to shift everyone into that slowly but surely. The entire west coast of the United States and all of Canada has already been on waterborne for the past 10 years. And now soon it'll be the eastern seaboard, which covers the Caribbean. So when that happens, we'll all be affected. So it's best to start now, start trying and applying waterborne, because eventually everyone will be on it. And referring to technicians, it's less harmful because it doesn't have all the toxic chemicals that solvent-borne paints do.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Faced with a myriad of behavioral issues at several public secondary schools, Minister for Education, the Honorable Sherry DeCastro, has issued a strong plea to the community and churches to join them in their efforts to steer students on the right path. She said in the first 2 months of this year alone, over 85 suspensions were recorded across the territories for public secondary schools, the majority stemming from drug-related offenses, violent altercations, and inappropriate sexual behavior. To counter these misbehaviors, the Education Minister stated that the Ministry of Education has developed a comprehensive framework for student support and well-being, which outlines a multi-pronged strategy to address the root causes of student misconduct while promoting resilience, student empowerment, academic progress, and parental support and social development.
Madam Speaker, it is important to note that even as we pursue national and interagency responses, schools themselves have been actively developing and implementing their own behavior support initiatives. At the Brigado Flax Educational Center, Secondary Division in Virgin Gorda, a well-functioning student behavior committee has been established. This committee works collaboratively to assess challenges and develop targeted interventions to support students exhibiting behavioral concerns. A committee of students to support students, Madam Speaker. Similarly, at the Elmore Stout High School, a powerful new initiative has taken root, the BEAM program, which stands for Beatitudes, Empowerment, and Mentorship. This program targets students facing serious behavioral and emotional challenges and offers them structured, compassionate intervention. The BEAM program held its initiation meetings during the month of May and received overwhelming support from community members, law enforcement officials, and mental health professionals. The program will continue with regular mentorship sessions, counseling support, and structured goal setting, all tailored to meet the individual needs of each participant. Madam Speaker, our efforts has also extended beyond our borders. In January 2025, with support from the BVI London office, the UK Department of Education, and the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, officials from the ministry met with representatives from the Violence Reduction Unit in the United Kingdom. There we learn about models such as the Rise Up program, which equips youth practitioners, especially those with lived experience, with the tools to support and redirect young people exposed to violence and trauma.
To take it further to address these challenges, the Education Minister said they must galvanize the support of the entire society.
The ministry will soon launch a formal call for volunteer youth workers and community mentors, people who are willing to walk alongside our young people, especially those most at risk. Whether you are a retired educator, a faith leader, or simply a citizen who wants to help, we need your presence, your experience, and your voice. These volunteers will be offered training and will work alongside educators, counselors, and community professionals to serve as trusted adults, mentors who listen, guide, and model positive behaviors. It is through these relationships and not punishment alone that we will change lives. Madam Speaker, I must also recognize the tireless efforts of our teachers, school leaders, counselors, and youth officers who face these challenges every day. They are not only educators, Madam Speaker. They are first responders, caregivers, and advocates for our children. They deserve our full support. In the weeks ahead, we will continue to refine our policy response and will bring forward legislative and budgetary recommendations to this Honorable House, Madam Speaker. Our long-term vision is the creation of a student support facility where vulnerable students can receive targeted academic, therapeutic, and life skills interventions outside the traditional school setting. Madam Speaker, we are not standing still. We are acting with urgency, purpose, and a deep commitment to safeguarding the well-being and potential of every single child in the Virgin Islands. We are building a system that does not just react to misbehavior, but anticipates and prevents it. One that does not stigmatize, but supports. One that does not cast out, but lifts up.
Minister De Castro urged that they not allow any child to slip through the cracks because they failed to act or because they failed to care. In other news, Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has called on the people of the Virgin Islands to fully prepare for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, which officially began on June 1st. In his recent address, Premier Wheatley stressed the importance of readiness as the territory braces for what is expected to be an active hurricane season.
We were listening to a number of presentations by a number of committees and a number of agencies who explained the plans in accordance with our comprehensive disaster management plan. And of course, I am extremely impressed and I am encouraged that the committees and the agencies are doing all within their power to ensure that we are ready, clearing the waterways, ensuring that we have communications ready in the event of an impact, ensuring that we clear away trees that might cause a challenge, ensuring that our electrical grid is prepared in the event of an impact. There have been wide-ranging, very considered, very thorough and extensive presentations, which have given us a great deal of confidence that we are in a high level of readiness.
The Premier highlighted that the National Disaster Management Coordinating Council, chaired by Governor Daniel Pruce, had convened a meeting with key stakeholders to review preparedness efforts.
It is important for each and every one of you out there in the public to be prepared. We know all too well the potential for devastating impact due to a hurricane or any other type of disaster. We're 8 years removed from one of the worst disaster and hurricane seasons in the history of the Virgin Islands, with the impact of Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Maria. So we have learned many lessons from that experience, and it has helped us. And we must use those lessons to ensure that we are always prepared, to ensure that our communities and families have our own disaster management response plans, that we have our hurricane response kits ready, that we have a plan that we will execute in the event of an impact.
Despite the positive reports, the Premier emphasized that government efforts alone are not enough.
We pay attention to the information being provided by the Department of Disaster Management, whether through their app, which is on our phones, or whether it's through the radio, or whether it's through social media, or any other forum that the Disaster Management and GIS shares information. So we must be prepared because, of course, it is forecasted that we will have an active season, and it's important for us to ensure that we build resilience, we build capacity, and that we are ready in the event of an impact.
Premier Wheatley also urged the public to stay informed by utilizing resources from the Department of Disaster Management. And viewers, with that, we take a quick break, but stay with us because we will be right back.
Start the year off with more. More speed, more downloading, more savings, and more fire. CCT Fire Fiber Internet gives you the speed you need to keep the whole family connected. Packages starting at $119 with speeds from 300 megabytes per second, super fast, unlimited downloads, even more reliable connectivity, plus free live streaming TV for the family to enjoy. Sign up for the absolute best fiber internet service in the BVI, CCT Fire, and pay no installation fee. Plus, get CCT Live TV for free. You deserve more. Get more with CCT. Life Unlimited.
Orange alert! Orange alert!
Fire is spreading across the BVI. The fastest, most reliable, and affordable fiber internet service is here for you. Look out for fire in these new locations: Slaney, Duff Bottom, Manual Reef, Steakhouse Bay, Albion, Hannah's, Palestina, Pleasant Valley, and Havers. Fiber is in your area. Call 444-4444 or visit a CCT store to find out more and bring it home. More locations coming soon.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Social impact organization Virgin Islands Kicking It gears up to host the second annual Toast Gala. Reflecting on last year's inaugural edition, founder Kyra James Douglas spoke about the background of the event.
For those of you who may be new to our work, Kicking It is a social impact organization deeply rooted here in the Virgin Islands and extends throughout the diaspora. The work that we do reduces barriers to connecting with Virgin Islands culture, supports homegrown creatives, and creates safe spaces for community building. But we cannot do it alone. Hence the reason that we're here today to talk about our fundraising gala, Toast. We created this event last year to kick off our journey as a nonprofit organization and really saw it as a place where community members could come and get to know our mission better and pledge to help, because it still takes a village. When you think of a toast, you think of raising a glass and celebration. You realize that we use the word celebrate a lot. And when you look up what celebrate means, it means to honor something. And the best way we could honor our stories is by keeping them safe.
The centerpiece of the evening celebrations shines a powerful spotlight on outstanding creative professionals whose work transcends borders and disciplines.
This year, under the theme Together We Bloom, we will be gathering at the beautiful Long Bay Beach Resort on August 2nd. Just as flowers flourish with care and nourishment, and bouquets and gardens are far more beautiful than a single stem, our community thrives when we work together. Talking about flowers, we also take some time at the gala to give creatives their flowers. At Kicking It, we believe creatives play a crucial role in cultural preservation. They write the songs, design the fabrics, the poems, the stories, the plays, the photos, the films that tell our stories. So Kicking It honors shines a vital spotlight on their indispensable role as culture bearers. Last year, we honored Travis Walters, also known as Travis Rose, Janet Prosper, and Adam O. In his acceptance speech, Adam shared that he had received many awards and medals over the years through his work in the military, but the award he received at Toast last year was the most important one he'd ever received, because it was the very first time he was recognized for doing what he loves, music. Those are the moments that we want to continue to create, because creators deserve to feel seen, uplifted, and supported. And we are excited to be back for year 2 of Kicking It Honors. And this year, we're honoring double the amount of creatives.
Meanwhile, it wasn't a win on the scoreboard, but it was a defining night for the British Virgin Islands men's national football team. Facing off against Jamaica in a 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying match, the BVI squad delivered a full performance of heart, structure, and national pride. Despite a 1-0 loss at the A.O. Shirley Recreation Grounds, the team walked away with their heads high, proving that the BVI stands tall in defeat.
The performance of the team, I think, is perfect today. The team is working in everything 200% capacity for suffer, because it's normal against Jamaica, and not 200% happy because we lose and don't like lose. I think we compete face to face with Jamaica and it's so difficult.
Jamaica struck from a set piece in the first half, but 19-year-old keeper Frankie Beckles remained composed in goal. Beckles highlights the defensive effort.
But for the second half, the change of the players or adjustment of the system is only because Jamaica, of course, need to score again. And for us, we have more space for attack and include one striker more for competing 1v1 with the central back of Jamaica.
Okay. Well, goalie was under a lot of pressure from all Lord. Talk about what it was like in the goal.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge. It was a test. Dealing with the heat, dealing with the fact that Jamaica are going to come and put you under pressure. But I think, for me personally, I had a good game.
He also shared some background on his personal performance and mindset during the match.
I was talking to my back line, which is important, made the saves that I needed to make. I think it was unfortunate with the goal to give away the set piece in the first place. He's done well with a header, but overall, performance was good, and I'm glad with the team and how we dug in and how we were strong and put our bodies on the line. So.
Technical Director Dan Sayers praised the squad's cohesion and resilience.
Coming into the game, I mean, obviously David is the head coach, and what we really just asked the players to do is to leave everything out on the field today, to make the BVI proud, play for the fans, play for your families, work as a team, simple things like that. And standing from this side, I was very proud to say that it looked like a team out there today. One of the reflections that I did have was the ability of the players to execute the coach's plan. And you can see that the players were together on that. Everybody was bought in. They were working as a team together. They made it difficult for Jamaica to penetrate most of the game. So for me, it's a great day. I'm very proud of the team, and I think the fans are as well.
Even after taking the win, Jamaica's coach was disappointed by the team's performance.
This game was a lot about individuals and keep performing. We'd done well in the previous two games in terms of performance and results. We didn't follow it up today. That's the biggest disappointment for me, was that we never followed the performance that we had last week, this week.
And viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com, like us on Facebook at 284media, and 284BVI on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. I'm Jacques Woodig, and I will see you again next week. So have yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.